What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Berg Blades Slim. So, Berg Blades was started by a guy named Matt, who's a firefighter in Arizona, and he decided to start kind of making his own knives when he couldn't afford one, if you can believe it. And he has some knives that he makes himself as custom pieces, and like it's happening with a lot of knife makers, they go through making their own pieces, and then they start to work with OEMs to bring some of their pieces to a production level, and so that more people can afford them. And that's the case here. This is the Berg Blades Slim, and this is manufactured by We Knives. So let me give you a tour of the knife of what we got here. So this is not a large blade. This comes in 2 3/4 inches, just about. It is this this kind of cleaver, sheep's footy blade. This is in a stone wash finish. You've got a swedge here, deployment hole, the Berg Blades logo on this side. You have a little bit of an accent around the pivot. Let me see if I can catch it. A little bit of an accent right around there. Okay. Then on this side, you have it. This is a bolster lock, so you have like this carbon fiber overlay that hides the semi frame lock. You've got a purple clip and a purple back spacer. So this is kind of what this looks like. I think it comes in a bunch of different color combinations. There's a satin version. There's micartas. Now they're not all that common. You kind of have to hunt. You kind of have to hunt them down. So this one I got from Steel Addiction Knives. I got it in the secondary market, and it's an interesting blade, and I've enjoyed having it. And let's get into the review of why that is. So let me show you a couple size comparisons here. This is against the Para 3, and here it is against the Para 2. And what you'll see here is that size-wise, it's a little bit weird because it's tall in that dimension. Sharpened blade length is probably right around the Para 3, probably a little more on the Para 3. Okay, certainly a smaller handle than the Para 3. But it's taller, and the blade is really, really, really tall. So let me show you against the Benchmade, and here it is against the Benchmade Bug Out, and here it is against the Mini Bug Out. So like I said, it's this cleaver blade, and the handle, it's really tall in that dimension. So the proportions of the knife are certainly a little bit weird, right? Because most knives are elongated, right? They're kind of this shape, where it's the dimensions are much more rectangular. This one is more of a boxier, squarish shape, which is what makes it a little bit more compelling and a little bit more interesting. So let's talk about it for a little bit. The ergonomics are actually very, very nice. It's kind of strange because the handle's not that small, but because of the way it's shaped, it makes my fingers go 1 and then 2 in this kind of larger arc, and then my pinky lands on this flat. But when you close your hand around it, in this saber grip, which I think it's the grip that it's meant to be held at, it's actually really, really, really comfortable, because it's taller in that direction. It feels my hand really well. I wear large gloves, and it feels my hand really, really nicely. It feels really good in the hand. It's ergonomically it feels really, really nice. The pocket clip kind of disappears in the hollow of my hand, So I can feel that it's there, but it's, but it's contoured, and it's not pokey, so it doesn't bother me. So ergonomics are actually very, very nice. You do have, it's not a, obviously that's not a four finger choil, it's a sharpening choil, but you have this area right here where there's a small radius right there, and you can actually come and do this kind of grip where you have two fingers in the back, one in the middle, and then this one right here, and you can be kind of closer to the action, and that is actually really comfortable as well. So there's a variety of ways that you can grip this. I find myself just doing this, but if you need to do a finer tasks, I think that the fact that they've contoured this, in a concave shape, this area, it tells you that they want you to put your finger there and be able to use it in that position. So ergonomics are actually really, really, really good. Now let's talk, well, I don't know if I told you, I believe, let me check. Yeah, these are M390 blades, okay? But let me show you how tall this blade is. So this blade is almost 1.5 inches tall. For comparison, you've got an 1.25 inches on the Parrot 2, which is already a kind of taller blade because of the spidey hole. So you have a really, really tall blade. But for cutting, okay, if we talk about cutting, what happens is, because it's so tall, let me show you the thickness of the blade. So thickness of the blade, very similar to the Parrot 2, okay? And it comes down to a reasonably thin edge, because even though this is taller than the Parrot 2, now the Parrot 2 has a full flat grind from the top to the bottom. This one has a more of a saber grind, saber-ish, where you have a little bit of a flat, and then you start with the main bevel here. And so it comes down to a reasonably thin edge. So you have, it's reasonably slicey, but really utility draw cuts is where this one's gonna be really, really nice. And because that's, sheep's foot kind of blades like that, allow you to just go into the material without having to tilt your hand all the way forward. When you try and do that with the Parrot 2, you have to move your hand way further forward to be able to do your draw cuts. Not so with the sheep's foot. It's very utilitarian. I find it that for my EDC tasks, opening packages, cutting cord, cardboard, cutting rope, that kind of stuff, this shape works very well, and it's a very, very nice cutter. I like the performance, even though it's not the thinnest of blades. Just the way this is ground, the way you have that point, the way it's shaped, it cuts better than I thought it was going to. It's certainly not as slicey when you're going through cardboard as, say, the bug out or thinner blades, but it's actually pretty good at cutting tasks. Now, fit and finish. So this, like I said, is manufactured by We Knives, and I have another knife that was manufactured by We Knives, and when I did my review of the Angry Baby Bear, I'll link it up here, which is also manufactured by We Knives, but that one's in Alliance Design by Ray Laconico. I said that it's like an old iteration of our Riyadh knives. I felt that the Riyadh fit and finish, the action, it was just a step above what we was producing. Well, I can't really say that with this one. Okay, the fit and finish on this one is, I feel it's a little bit better than what I had on my Angry Baby Bear. It's decent, but I think where the most difference is is in the action. So, the fit and finish on the Angry Baby Bear. Sorry about that. It feels like a tongue twister. The fit and finish on that one was actually very, very good, with the except of the action. Here you have a really, really, really good fit and finish, kind of what I saw on that one, but the action is just absolutely dialed in. It's just so nice to deploy. It's very, very enjoyable. Even though my preference is always a flipper rather than a middle finger flick, but in this one it's just fidgety, it's snappy, it is comfortable. Oh my god, I completely failed. It is just really, really nice to deploy and to fidget. The action, it's not completely drop shot, but it is very, very smooth. It is very, very enjoyable. The action on this one feels completely different from my Angry Baby Bear. This one has a couple of things that the Angry Baby Bear doesn't have. For example, a lock bar insert, and I think that has to do with it. The fact that this one has a lock bar insert. The Angry Baby Bear just has the titanium bearing against the steel of the blade. So that one does have an over travel stop because it's also kind of a bolster lock. But this one has an actual, I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if I can get you close here. Yeah, there it is. You can see it right in there, the over travel stop. So even though this is a bolster lock and you don't really need an over travel stop because this kind of overlay will stop the blade from over traveling, I'm glad that they actually put it there. I'm glad that it has a lock bar insert, and the action is just a lot better. That one, the action on the Angry Baby Bear feels gritty. It doesn't feel smooth. It just doesn't feel nice. And this one feels. I had to go back and check and make sure that it wasn't a re-aught, because the action is so good that I thought it may have been. So kudos on WE Knives for the action that they've achieved on the Berg Blade Slim. This is just really, really nicely done. It's a shorter blade. It's hard to get a drop shot action on very short blades, but it is close. It is very smooth on the closing, and even though you have to kind of coax it down a little bit, I find myself enjoying it very, very much. So, I think, when you talk airing of grievances, what I don't like about the knife, I think the only thing that I don't like is I think the pocket clip works, and I don't mind that it's not deep carry. I like milk pocket clips, but because it gets wider out here, this point, and I don't know if you can tell, but it is, let's say, a little bit discolored. I'm gonna just shift it around and see if you can tell, but it is because it's not a hot spot. Okay, I don't feel it, but it is something that rubs against my hand. And in my use, you start to, you can tell the areas that are kind of protruding because they start to lose their color, right? So I think even though the ergonomics are really, really good and it doesn't bother me, I think that maybe a little bit of rounding, on the clip that way instead of just being flat would have prevented a little bit of that, and I think it would have made more comfortable, a more comfortable pocket clip. Now, before I forget, I did want to say that there's no contouring in this direction in this knife. The Angry Baby Bear does have contouring in that direction, but the chamfering that they've done here and the way that they've kind of rounded the inside of the liners here is far superior to the Angry Baby Bear. This one, you can hold it and you never feel like the Angry Baby Bear has an edge on the inside that is uncomfortable. This one, not at all. This one is really, really comfortable. and works very, very well. So guys, there's your review of the Berg Blades Slim. Again, these are not easy to find. They don't make very many of them. They do drop. He has a couple of models. I think this is the most compelling or the most interesting model he has. But you can find them on the secondary market. If you want to get one, you need to, subscribe, get notifications, follow him on Instagram, all of that stuff to see when it drops. I do recommend it. I think it's a decent value because this was like $350 for me, and usually Riyadh made knives are closer to $400. So having this action, these materials fit and finish for $350, I think it's not the greatest value in the world, but I think the value is decent, and the design is actually fairly good for great ergonomics and very nice action and great fit and finish. I do recommend this knife. I think it's very nice. I think it's different. I like the cleaver shape. I think it, like I try to say that in my collection, a knife has to start to look interesting because I have every other knife shape out there. So you start looking for things that have certain uniqueness. So guys, hopefully this was helpful to you, and if it is, and then like and subscribe. Don't get notified. Nobody wants to get more emails. You know where to find my content if you want to see my videos. Until I see you again, take care.